over a touch. Perfect. What was your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah, nice to meet you, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan.
How's it going? So you guys calling the game today as well?
Yeah, we are. He's Duke's normally at the old Magic games. Is he off at the moment?
He's been on annual leave for a week or so.
Yeah, okay.
Not too sure.
I think they're on coming season for that. What's he doing?
maybe he's downstairs. Actually enjoying it.
Drinking a few beers.
I'm not sure.
Didn't get a start today?
Big gig.
I thought Ruben might have put you on.
Got the big gig.
Me?
Hey, I'm
No.
okay.
Yeah. I thought Ruben might have put you on today.
Nah, it's an old mate.
Still on the bench.
There's a sauce already.
Huh?
Hey, you haven't heard about CT? He's calling the new FM. He's already down one schooner.
What was that?
CT's already down one schooner. He's commentating at Edgy. Smudge just said it's going to be an interesting call.
It'll be a mess. You want to see? Game was. But wait for it. Fill it up again, she says.
Oh! And then again.
I wasted some. She licks it off.
Oh, wow. Live? Are they waiting? No. Can you give us a thumbs up when they are? And
Still devastated about last night.
are you still shattered? Just
How were they?
I'm pretty sure that's their last game for Job.
Yeah. I knew it was Job's, I didn't know about the others. Jimmy would have been spewing, huh? I thought that's I hadn't.
go. Hey Robert, do we have to look any of these up? Which one do we need to? So here we are, semi-final number 2, two sides and two very different stories. For one, the 2018 chapter of that book will come to a close, while for the other, a shot at silverware beckons next weekend. For Maitland, it's been 37 years since they last made it to grand final day, and that's a generation of fans who have not witnessed an appearance on the biggest day of the season. While for Magic, a side who has claimed 6 championships, 7 premierships, and 4 state cups in the last 21 years, more than 4 seasons without a trophy feels like enough of a drought for them. Last week, Maitland let their guard down and Magic took full toll, and this afternoon the Magpies will need to produce the greatest comeback in the history of the NPL finals in northern New South Wales if they are to take their place at McDonald Jones Stadium next Saturday. But as we found out yesterday, if you believe, anything can happen. And for Maitland, here's the side where they will aim to produce an impressive fight back with. Michael Bolch, he makes no changes to the side who went down 3-1 last weekend at Cook Square Park. That includes Matt Trott, Liam Thornton and his brother Carl Thornton, who have appeared in every match for Maitland so far this season. They've also got former A-League men Matt Thompson and Alex Reid. While for Broadmeadow Magic, Ruben Zadkovic makes 2 changes, and they are 2 big changes from the side last weekend. James Virgili comes in for Dino Fajkovic in the front third, while Mitch Oxborough replaces Cody Carroll in the middle of the park. The weather here at Magic Park, it's quite windy at the moment. It was a balmy day yesterday, but currently the mercury sitting at 16 degrees with the wind 30 kilometres an hour from the south. That will be behind Broadmeadow Magic in this first half. The coaches, Maitland's Michael Bolch, says all the pressure is on Broadmeadow to make it through to the grand final after their 3-1 win last weekend. He was very disappointed in the performance of his side, while Ruben Zadkovic will be aiming to qualify for his first grand final as coach. Referee is Ryan Gallagher. He was on the sideline for Usain Bolt's first trial match for the Mariners on Friday night. He's now in the middle for this one. So it'll be Magic from right to left to start us off in semi-final number 2. The second leg. A little bit of a delay, but we should be underway. And we are. Maitland from left to right of screen. And with me in commentary this afternoon is Peter Haynes. Good afternoon, Hainesy. Just tell me, can you see a Maitland fight back this afternoon?
Well, the part of me says absolutely not, and I would think that if Broadmeadow get this right and execute what Ruben is wanting them to execute, I would say no. But I think I said to you earlier, I was on the receiving end of a 7-0 thumping at the hands of Maitland a couple of years ago on this ground, so anything is possible.
Yeah, that was last year back in round 9. Maybe your memory's deceiving you.
It's been a long time since I've strapped the boots on, Benny.
It's felt like a long time for you. Yeah, that was actually Maitland's last win here at Magic Park. They had a 0-0 draw, the two sides back in round 11 this year. So Matt Trott with an early goal kick. This is straight into the teeth of that southerly breeze. And can't keep it inside the line. The results this year between the sides have gone 3 different ways. 0-0 in round 11. It was a 2-0 win to Maitland in round 20 to qualify for the finals. And then in the semi-finals last week, Broadmeadow with that 3-1 victory. It's Cal Bradbury. Scored 2 last weekend. Matt Houle. Across to Majorowski, but Sean Pratt just got in the way there. And Swan feeding Sean Pratt. You sense, Hainesy, that Michael Bolch is going for that attacking style from the outset. You can see Alex Reid at the point of attack.
Well, I think, Benny, realistically, they haven't got any choice. They need to get a goal. The sooner the better to get themselves back into the game. I like the moving Alex Reid up to the point of the attack. Couple of speeds to either side, especially Ryan Clark, who's playing on the left-hand side today, and then the experience of Matt Thompson in behind. I think in transition they're going to be very dangerous. So Broadmeadow have to be on their toes.
There's Cal Bradbury in towards the middle, and James Virgili, his first match back from that hamstring injury he suffered in the FFA Cup against Canberra. Good early opportunity for him.
Number 8, Matthew Houle. Number 26, Mitchell Oxborough.
Now with Ryan Clark. It's Matt Thompson. Basically playing on one leg at the moment, Matt Thompson. Heavily strapped that left knee, you can see, Hainesy. You said you saw him getting that tape on his knee pre-match. So the Magpies win that free kick.
I did. I saw him before the game and I had a quick chat to him, and the amount of tape on his leg is absolutely amazing. It looks like he's almost holding his leg on. So hopefully he can get through the game. He's got a massive role to play. If Maitland are to get anything out of this game and get through the tie, Tomo has to be a big part of that.
More tape than leg, basically, for Matt Thompson. So Paul Bitts, who is going to win Goalkeeper of the Year, 9 clean sheets in 2018. And it goes towards Majorowski, and Carl Thornton got his head there first. What do you prefer, Hainsey? Did you prefer running with the wind or against it? Because Maitland are going to be right up against it in this first half.
I was just going to bring it up, Benny. It's really interesting. I'm not sure who won the toss, but if Piddington has won the toss today, I think it's a great one to win. As I said before, I feel Maitland have to get something out of, especially this first half, if they're going to do anything in this tie. And the wind is, well, it's not super strong. It's enough just to keep Maitland pinned in.
Oxford's ball in again, and Sean Pratt. Ball only as far as Luke Virgili. Pratt again doing the work at the back, defensively for Maitland. Swan. Out to Alex Reid, who scored 3 crucial goals for Maitland this year. He's only scored 3, and all of them have come in the final 5 minutes of matches. And all of them crucial, not consolation goals.
And it's a big part of why Bulgy's brought him to the club. He's been there for a couple of years now. He's been deployed as a fullback a lot of the time, but he's a big game player. He's had some A-League experience, and as you said, his goals in the last few weeks especially have been crucial, and he's going to have a big say today again if they're going to do anything in this tie.
James Virgili just caught offside. One of the big inclusions for Broadmeadow Magic this afternoon.
Yeah, what a luxury being able to bring James and Mitch back into the team. Childs, obviously, he's so direct. He's a great running with the ball. He's a super finisher. But I think Mitch Oxborough is going to be a really interesting one. Knowing Ruben and the boys, it's not going to be as much about his quality. We all know his quality. But I've got a feeling that he's going to be out there today to manage this game, to make sure he's controlling the tempo, slowing things down when they feel like it's getting away from them. And his communication with the rest of the team is going to be absolutely vital.
And that's what he does best, Mitch Oxborough. He's missed 5 matches after that spitting ban. Really hurt Broadmeadow. He couldn't play in that match against Bentley Greens. That was a huge loss that night, as was James Virgili as well.
Just being able to dictate that space, I would imagine, in between Matt Thompson and Alex Reid, blocking passes, shielding the 2 centre-backs. His experience and his composure is going to be absolutely huge.
So Brown allowing that one between the lines towards Swan, and now Thompson. Ryan Clark couldn't quite get on the end of that one.
We're talking about the win before, Benny, and while I think it is an advantage for Broadmeadow, what you will find in this first half is those balls that Tomo just played in there, they will hold up, and they will make it a little bit awkward for Paul Bitts in goals with the pace of especially Ryan Clark coming inside from the left-hand side of the field.
Yeah, as you're saying, that pace of Clark and also Alex Reid, that's going to be key, you sense, for Maitland. Here's one of the speed men for Magic. It was Carl Bradbury just dishing it off to Houle. Now Broadley, Majorowski. Good movement this from Broadmeadow. Virgili just dinks it towards the back post of Carl Bradbury. That was decent build-up, wasn't it, Hainsey, from Broadmeadow? Yeah,
nice and patient there. It was. I thought Majorowski might have tried his luck there, but just rolled one into James Virgili, who probably, at the end of the day, clipping one on the back post to Carl Bradbury is probably not what Kale wants, to be honest. But nice and patient, good start.
So now Ryan Clark, he looks up. Saw Matt Thompson, but also Sean Pratt, who scored 3 goals in his last 6 matches for Maitland. And last week was actually the first match this year that he'd started for Maitland where they hadn't won the match, or hadn't been he's played in 9 matches for Maitland, and every one they've got a result, so I should say, a draw or a win. Zach Thomas moves that one straight to Paul Bitts.
Just a fraction too straight at the moment, Maitland.
That goes Carl Thornton, and with that win behind him, he couldn't control the header. Yeah, the gloves of Matt Trott.
Well played, John Majorowski. It would have been easy for him just to see that bounce over his head and take his position back up towards the edge of the D and start again. But he pressed on to Carl Thornton, I think it was, and made him make a decision, and they end up with a corner. So well done, Judd.
So Matt Houle taking his time, as you'd expect.
On the other side of Clarkie, just tell Hooley, make sure he's ready. He doesn't want to go the other way.
Here is Matt Hoole. Curling it with that breeze. It will be dangerous, but he couldn't quite get the quality or the height. He'll get a second opportunity though. Swan was able to just touch it clear. Now Piddington getting involved in the midfield. He's gone down, Josh Piddington. And he's clutching at a shoulder. Now this is a man who never goes down, Josh Piddington.
He's copped an elbow in the throat or high on the collarbone, I think. And you're right, he's one of the toughest men I've ever met in football or outside of football. So for him to go down is not a good sign for Broadmeadow.
He's clutching high up around that collarbone throat area. Looks to be alright at the moment. Played his 300th match for Broadmeadow Magic early this season, Josh Piddington.
It'll be his 15th year with the club next year, which is a massive achievement. Not sure how many players have played 15 years at one club at this level. It's a credit to himself, a credit to the club.
He's got a fascinating story in terms of how he came to Broadmeadow Magic. Damien Smith, former Magic coach, said to him, "You can come and play for Broadmeadow Magic, but I'm not going to give you a starting spot. You've got to earn it." There was a couple of other clubs that said, "We're going to give you a starting spot, Josh. Come and play for us." And Josh Piddington signed for Broadmeadow Magic.
I remember that we came in the same year, Josh and I. We didn't know each other. He was a young kid. He was a pretty cocky young lad. You won't mind me saying that. And I remember his first session at the athletics track in town we trained at. There was a centre back named Jim Kresner, who was the captain at the time. Let's see what comes of that. He was the captain at the time, and he always had his chair in the corner of the room where we got ready. And Josh decided he'd sit in that chair on his first session. Jim came up to him and asked him kindly to move, and he refused. And it ended up with Jim Kresner picking Josh up and throwing him onto a table, and quite clearly telling him that he was the captain of the club and that Josh needed to pay a bit more attention to what he said.
Well, there you go. Now he's the skipper at Broadmeadow Magic.
I'm not sure how much influence that little action had on Josh's career, because I think he took a bit of advice from that, and that's the kind of guy he turned into. He set the tone in the dressing room. Josh is a tough man, and he's not backward in coming forward.
Minchock sprint out. Here's John Griffiths. Took a little deflection. It was fortuitous for Maitland. Now Sean Pratt, he was able to squeeze the ball through. Right into the middle. Paul Bitts couldn't claim it. Now Swan. And Ryan Clark may get the opportunity on the turn here, but Matt Hoole came across hurriedly. Wasn't a great moment there for Paul Bitts. It bounced up very awkwardly. It was low. Couldn't claim it. But Oxbury's distribution to Bradbury was pretty good.
And that's where
Bradbury
exactly the situation Broadmeadow need to be absolutely on their toes as Maitland come again. When the field is broken,
here he is, Swan. Straight between the lines. You don't see him do that very often, Matt Swan.
For the second time. As you can see, when the field is broken, you can see they're pouring forward in 3s and 4s, Maitland. Obviously chasing something early, and Broadmeadow just not quite figured out who is tracking runners in the middle of the park. Maitland's
loss last Sunday was their first in 9 NPL matches. Lost just one of their last 10. So they're in a good vein of form, even with the little hiccup last Sunday.
See Ruben Zadkovic quite vocal down on the touchline. He's on his feet, he's on the edge of his technical area, telling Cale Bradbury he wasn't too happy with his effort at tackle just outside the area on that little attack from Maitland. And also giving a fair few instructions to Paul Bitts and Matt Hoole on the right hand side about playing out, trying to play beyond Ryan Clark and turn him around.
He knows how dangerous Ryan Clark is. I'm not sure whether Ruben Zadkovic would have come across Ryan Clark, because he did trial for Perth Glory and he played for Inglewood in the Victorian NPL.
From what I know,
the WA NPL, I should say.
From what I know, I don't think they crossed paths while he was at Perth, but while Ruben was doing some coaching with the Perth youth team, he definitely crossed his path. Ryan Clark was scoring a bag full of goals at the time over there, and had to deal with him from a coaching perspective before he got home here to Newcastle.
So this could be a decent opportunity for Maitland. They have got some tall men. Zach Thomas pushing forward. They've actually got 5 players in their squad today, Maitland, that played their youth football with Broadmeadow Magic. Zach Thomas, one of them. Adam and Tom Duggan, Justin McAuliffe as well. Here he is, Matt Thompson. Radar just not quite on there for former Jet skipper.
You probably want that one back, Tomo. It was a good opportunity, a good area. You can see what he's trying to do. Float a ball into the back stick to Carl Thornton to get something back across. He's a much better player than that, Tomo, and he just got that one a little bit wrong. Good little patch for Broadmeadow just to test them out. I know Ruben is really big on the ability of his players to manage the game, to make sure that they're in control of the game, whether they've got the ball or not, about managing the tempo and slowing it down when they do feel that they're under the pump a little bit, and they're definitely under the pump a little bit now, so it'll be interesting to see the reaction.
It's been a good start here from Maitland, pretty much the opposite to what we saw from the Magpies last Sunday in the first half. They were poor and they were down 3-0 at half time. And in contrast, Magic were very good. Great goal scored by Cale Bradbury, probably a contender for goal of the season. Strike from him.
You can see now Shane Paul winning a good throw in there and just slowing things right down, taking as much momentum out of Maitland as he possibly can. Josh Piddington very vocal, calling Mitch Oxborough back in so that he's in contact with himself and John Griffiths.
Hainsey, you'd actually remember the last time Michael Balch had this kind of scenario in the semi-final and in the second leg was when Broadmeadow played Hamilton Olympic back in 2016. Now you guys, Broadmeadow, won the first leg 3-1, and then in the second leg, Hamilton were up 1-0 and very close to claiming a second, which would have sent them through to the grand final. On that occasion, though, it was they'd conceded 3 goals away at the opposition's home ground, which actually isn't as bad as what Maitland did last week. They conceded 3 goals at home. Yeah,
it's actually a difficult situation. I mean, it sounds simple and the maths sound simple, but when you're not used to doing it, I mean, these guys are amateur players. They don't play for a living. They're not playing Champions League or Europa Cup where it's the norm. It's actually a difficult and quite a stressful situation at times just to work out what the momentum of the match and the tie actually are.
Grant Brown will let that one cross the line. So they need 3 goals. Simple as that for Maitland this afternoon. 2 goals won't do it for them because they conceded 3 away goals last week.
As you can see the win there, just holding that one up. It's a good jump from Alex Reid.
So Sean Pratt making the way to his opposite number, Shane Paul. Oxborough, well, he didn't see Sean Pratt coming, and he ducked, and Pratt went flying over the top. That was quite spectacular.
A la an AFL mark going on there.
It was interesting. Well, it was smart from Oxborough with the duck. Sean Pratt went sprawling to the turf. Former Mariners NYL player, Cale Bradbury. Looking for the long ball to find James Virgili.
Yeah, it was actually not a bad ball. Not the one that he was trying to play. As we see it float across the bit. Not the one he was trying to play, Bradbury, but I would expect James Virgili there to maybe come towards the ball first as his first action. He's going to beat Liam Thornton for pace all day, you would imagine. I'd like to see him have his first action towards the ball, just so that he can hold the ball up if he needs to, if Cale gets it wrong as he did then.
So Grant Brown, Thompson, now Swan, and Luke Virgili was there first. Just a quick ball to Majorowski. Just seemed to be caught in 2 minds there, John Majorowski. He had Bradbury making the run. He just couldn't get the whip on the ball up the ground.
He had a bit more time than what I think he thought he had there, John. He could have taken a touch. Easy to say when you're up here and you've got a jumper and a hat on and you're just calling the game in the commentary box, but if he had that average time again, I think he could have taken a touch and even faced forward, but on he goes.
It's very much easier from up here, isn't it, Hainsey?
I'm a much better player this year than I was last year. Again, we can see Broadmeadow just understanding that they're the momentum is with Maitland, slowing things down as much as they can just to disrupt things. Paul Bitts will just put it into an area.
He's looking for Magpies to hold it up, but might bring it down. Magic trying to make their second grand final in 3 years. But in saying that, they haven't won a trophy since 2014 when they won the State Cup against South Cardiff. The grand final they won in 2013. James Virgili and Magpies combining. Grant Brown smothering the cross.
Delightful little touch from John Magpies there, just letting James Virgili just continue his run. Again, I thought he might have dusted off the left foot then, James, and tested Matt Trott, but continued the dribble and has ended up with the corner. Interesting to see that Luke Virgili is remaining the last defender there for Broadmeadow, usually up in the box. Bit of a sign of making sure that they don't concede in transition.
Grant Brown with the header, flicking it away from goal, and you can also see basically had two men on Ryan Clark and Shane Paul and Mitch Oxborough there just screening, so that shows you how much.
Well, they're a huge threat in transition. They're probably one of the most dangerous teams in the league. In broken play and on transition, you've got the likes of Clark and Reedy today up front, and when you've got Matt Thompson facing forward with the amount of pace that they've got, they're so dangerous. So Broadmeadow understand that. They'll leave as many defenders as they can at home in those set-piece situations and make sure that they don't get caught as best they can.
It's Thornton looking for the heavily strapped Thompson. And now Alex Reid, also neat back heel, but Ryan Clark was just on his heels.
A lovely idea from Reedy there. Clark just not close enough to capitalise, but a lovely piece of skill as well by Matt Thompson just to roll Matt Hoole and play that ball. And that's good experience from Matt Thompson again. Justin Broadley just getting too close.
Ryan Clark, but Matt Hoole did get there first.
And he's
did very well.
He's done well there, Matt Hoole. He understood he was isolated, he had to win that ball.
Matt Hoole's last goal came here at Magic Park against Maitland a bit over 2 years ago. It was an absolute bomb from about that kind of range where Maitland were just a moment ago. Here's Clark. John Griffiths with the header away. Sean Pratt with the swivel.
So getting a little bit nervous here, Broadmeadow.
We're talking pre-match, Hainsey. It's a difficult situation, and I know you'd prefer to be 3-1 up, but just in terms of how you approach the game, up 3-1, do you come in defensive? It could be a half chance for Thompson.
You're exactly right, Benny. It's a difficult one, and look, you'll take 3-1 all day coming back to your home ground, and I'd rather be in Broadmeadow's shoes than Maitland's shoes, but it is a little bit difficult. Getting that mix between understanding that you've almost done a job compared to managing this game through.
Just a bit of a disagreement here.
Matt Swan saying that the ball wasn't out.
Well, James Cleal, the assistant referee on this near side, has signalled that it had crossed the line.
Just as that was going on, Ruben Zadkovic giving Paul Bitts an absolute roasting.
Two former teammates at Wollongong Wolves back in their youth days.
Not happy about the way that he was playing out. That ball, I think, is in the helicopter pad. That one.
Yeah, especially with the wind. Once it gets a hold of it, see you later. So there's been plenty of balls heading over there in their time here, Broadmeadow. A reminder, the winner of this one playing Edgeworth in the grand final next Saturday night after that stunning fight back. Well, stunning's one word, but it was just incredible. That doesn't even do it justice, watching that last night. Here's Oxborough. Down 1-0 and 2-1. And they fought back to win it 3-2 in extra time. Shane Paul sliding in. And will be the corner. Will be a throw, sorry. So just past the midway mark of this second semi-final, the second leg, Broadmeadow up 3-1 on aggregate, 0-0 in this one this afternoon. And Maitland probably just marginally with the better of the chances. They haven't had a clear-cut opportunity.
No, I 100% agree. I think Maitland have had the better of this so far. Wind really starting to get up. I'm not sure whether they're getting this wind down on pitch level or whether it's just because we're up a little bit higher, but
Zach Thomas breaks forward. No advantage for Maitland after Thomas was floored. So Alex Reid playing up the top and Carl Thornton at centre-back this afternoon. You can see what Michael Balch is trying to do there. Maitland, they need goals. Ryan Clark thought it might sit up in the breeze. It didn't for him.
it's interesting to note of just the last few minutes. You can see with Alex Reid playing as a lone striker and Maitland playing with two wide strikers, it's left to John Griffiths to pick up basically 1v1 against Alex Reid. And Josh Piddington is almost playing as the old-fashioned sweeper. He's dropping 3 to 5 metres behind the play, obviously with the pace in mind of particularly Clarkey on the left-hand side and making sure they don't get caught out one-on-one in behind Hooley.
At what point, Hainsey, do you think Michael Balch, Maitland's coach, is going to go to 3 at the back and just throw men forward? Do you wait until half-time for that, if it's still 0-0?
Look, I think so. I think so, because if they do it too early, the risk of conceding is just as great as them scoring. I think if they concede in the first half, it makes it really difficult. So it's a difficult balance for Balchi to decide on the timing of when they, go for it and take a few more risks at the back, because while there's Cale Bradbury and James Virgili on the pitch, it's hard enough to defend with 4 or 5 players. He'll just have that in the back of his head and be a little bit concerned.
And that's the risk he's taken with Alex Reid. You lose a bit of pace at the back, but you get a little bit more attacking threat in the final third. Zach Thomas couldn't quite bring it down. It allowed Majerowski the opportunity, but Matt Thompson, even though he might be on one leg, he's still a wonderful player. Over 200 A-League matches. The Jets, Sydney and Melbourne Heart it was then, but now City.
A couple of Socceroos games thrown in there.
Yep. Spent some time in Malaysia as well. That was his last club.
In Thailand as well, he was in.
Yeah, before heading to Maitland. He's been there for every season of the Magpies in the NPL. So in this free kick since 2015. So this is third finals match for them. And they was that close to making the grand final in 2016. And that would have been against Broadmeadow. But that's what Edgeworth do. We've seen that over the last 4 years.
They're amazing, aren't they?
They just don't give up. They just don't give up. So Matt Thompson got under this one. Hovers towards the back post. Thornton shoulder to shoulder with Majerowski. And it's a penalty. Well,
that is a huge decision.
Was that inside the box? I'm in shock because I wasn't even thinking penalty there.
It was definitely inside the box. My question was, my original thought was it was shoulder to shoulder. It was a strong challenge from Majerowski. I'm not convinced that it was a penalty.
In total shock, Hainsey. Absolute shock. Because it just came out of the blue. So Matt Thompson, he scored 4 penalties against Magic last year at this ground. And Bitts makes the save. But Thompson is as cool as a cucumber with the header. He slots it away. And Maitland, that's 1 goal. They need a couple more now.
Well, this is a situation we spoke about at the start of the game, wasn't it? They want an early goal. They needed an early goal to give themselves a chance. And big moments need big players. Matt Thompson steps up. Great save from Paul Bitts, I must say, but had the composure and the awareness, Matt Thompson, to follow it up and stick it in the back of the net.
Well, big decision. from Ryan Gallagher to award the penalty. And now how did Magic react? Because all of a sudden Maitland are just edging a little bit closer to what would be a miracle if they could get through to the grand final.
No booking for Majorowski?
No
I
booking.
didn't see anything come out.
Wasn't a card.
Interesting.
It was a heavy thud, you heard that.
Look, I think, you know, if you see that in the middle of the park, you probably don't say anything about it being a free kick, but in the box, going away from goal, I was a little bit surprised that Ryan Gallagher blew his whistle for a penalty, but hey, that's why he gets the appointment. He's in the middle and I'm up here in the commentary box.
Well, you're exactly right. All of a sudden, if a foul happens around the penalty box, the degree of severity of the foul has to be a little bit higher, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And Ryan Clark, I mean, he's been on the A-League panel now for quite a number of years. He's super experienced. I think he's been involved in the NPL Grand Finals for the last 7 or 8 years. So if there's someone that you want in the middle of the pitch with the experience, he's the one you want, and he's made the decision, and we get on with it. Makes for a good game, though.
Exactly. Poor bits now. So, and all of a sudden, Maitland just have that energy. And you'd know it, Hainsey, even from my days playing in under 14s and 15s. When you score, the energy just pulses through the entire side, doesn't it?
It absolutely. And I said, though, Broadmeadow looked a little bit nervous just before the goal. They'll be a lot nervous at the moment because they know what's coming. And it's such a difficult range of emotions to just manage at the moment because you've lost momentum, you're down 1-0, you're still winning the tie, so you just need to trust your ability, trust your game plan, and just get on with things, but it's so hard.
It's just hard to treat it like another game, isn't it?
Absolutely. But
it's not, you know, you're a game away from a grand final.
And this is where your big players have to come into play, you know, Oxborough, Peddington, Vigili, Griffiths, just to get control of this game, John Majorowski as well. And just manage the emotions and make sure that you're just going through the process. But I tell you what, Maitland have absolutely turned up here, and they're looking quite dangerous.
So Oxborough, Zach Thomas, that was strong to win the ball from John Griffiths. Ryan Clark is offside. James Cleal not moving.
And you can see Mitch Oxborough and John Griffiths there are saying it's exactly a similar situation to what happened in the box there, and it's a foul in the box and it's not a foul on the other side of halfway.
So while Broadmeadow did win against Maitland last weekend, they haven't had a great run of form of late, just the one win in 4 in all competitions. That included a run of 3 straight defeats, including that FFA Cup loss to Bentley. It's the header away from Brown. Now Sean Pratt tried to reel it in, but Cal Bradbury had the speed and goal to get there first.
He's had a good start to the game, Sean Pratt. He's looked lively. He's been on the ball quite a bit. Probably gets overshadowed a little bit in the front line with Hamilton. We're talking about Clark and Thompson and Reid, but good young player.
He's lost 10 kilos since joining Maitland.
I might need to hang around with him for a little bit.
He was 10 kilos heavier at the start of his time at the Magpies. He switched over from Hamilton midway through the season. Gee whiz. Majorowski got flattened there by Liam Thornton. Now Majorowski not impressed.
Strong tackle. I don't think there was much malice in it. I think Liam Thornton was just timed that well. Imagine a little bit off balance and went down quite heavily.
The whiplash as well. You can just see his neck fly back. So Mitch Oxborough, if you want anyone over a dead ball in the competition, you'd probably say you'd want him. So here he is, curling it almost inside that far post. Matt Trott has been a little concerned had it been closer to goal.
Just looking, Benny Shane Paul just coming back to his position on the left-hand side. Doesn't look healthy at all. He took a knock probably 5 or 6 minutes ago. And it seems to be his right hip that he's clutching at the moment. He doesn't look healthy. Hopefully he can run out from Broadmeadow's sake, but yeah, he's not moving freely at all.
In terms of men who they could put in his position there, Shane Paul on the left side. got Takumi Sonata on the bench and David Ifield, who primarily plays over on the right. So they've also got Cody Carroll and Fadjevic, but they're more attacking-minded players. Matt Hoole. They want forward towards Majerowski, but Carl Thornton has tripped over Majerowski. It's a little bit of a
bit messy.
Scramble for the ball, isn't it?
Well done, Matt Hoole.
And Alex Reid saying he didn't kick the ball away.
Matt Hoole there just wanting John Majerowski to be in front of his marker so that he's an option to hold that ball up. Not really John's go to get him behind people and having foot races from 40 metres out, and just got caught on his heels. There's a nice little ball behind the line for Hoole. Just wanted a little bit more support.
So Cal Bradbury, almost between the lines.
Strong header, Shane Paul. As you can see, Piddington stayed high. Not something Ruben Zadkovic, I assume, would be ecstatic about, seeing his central defender playing next to his striker at the moment.
Not at all in this kind of match. So if you're just tuning in, 1-0 Maitland up against Broadmeadow Magic at the moment. The first leg was 3-1 to Broadmeadow at Maitland's Cook Square Park. So Maitland need a couple of goals. Shane Paul swivels away from Sean Pratt and then dishes off to Mitch Oxborough. He's then looking to find James Virgili. Just a little off balance.
It's just not linking for Broadmeadow at the moment. They haven't got their front three into the game at all at the moment, and a lot of the service at the moment has been quite long from either Hoole looking for straight passes into Majerowski, and a couple of times Shane Paul, Luke Virgili, and on that occasion Mitch Oxborough looking for a long ball in behind for James Virgili. Just not quite coming off at the minute.
Also on Bar TV Sports Football this afternoon, the New FM Northern League 1 Grand Final. That is between West Wallsend and Bell Swans. Bell Swans haven't won a Grand Final since 1986, I'm pretty certain.
And what a game that is, Benny, just quiet. I know we're here at Broadmeadow and Maitland, but what a game that is out at Edgeworth today.
West Wallsend, a side who doesn't pay their players. None of their players are paid. Matt Trott, oh, gee whiz. He's very fortunate.
And
he's
that's a free kick against Majerowski.
Well, was that illegal from John Majerowski?
He's quite hard done by, I think, Majerowski. He's remonstrating with Ryan Gallagher.
He didn't even jump up.
Matt Trott came flying out, and for me, he's just mistimed it and missed the ball.
I think he's very lucky, as are Maitland. He's been outstanding in goals this year, Matt Trott. 8 clean sheets.
Super goalkeeper, Matt Trott. I spent a bit of time playing with him down in Sydney a lifetime ago now, and when he was just a young boy with the Central Coast before he got his gig with the Mariners. And unbelievable goalkeeper. Technically is absolutely outstanding. His distribution is top shelf. So when he made his way up to Newcastle a couple of seasons ago, I was quite impressed that he's kept himself at a really good level, and he's been huge for Maitland this year.
He played 6 matches in the A-League for the Mariners, 2 clean sheets during his time there. It's not a bad record, is it?
Had a fair bit of competition down there as well. I think Matt Ryan, obviously Mitchell Langerak was down there for a little while. Trotty's in there. I think Liam Reddy was there at the time as well. So tough gig to try and get a game in goals at the Mariners back in that day.
Especially when there's only 9, well, there would have been a few more. There would have been about 11 jobs in the A-League in terms of for Australian goalkeepers. With just that one side over in New Zealand. 11 of the 12, but now it's only 9. There's only 9 goalkeeper spots, or first-team goalkeeper spots, which makes it very tough.
Andrew Redmayne, not Mitch Langerak, before the comments start pouring in.
Andrew Redmayne, was he down there as well?
Central Coast boy.
There you go.
Got married a couple of weeks ago.
He's playing for the Wanderers at the moment.
He is.
Andrew Redmayne.
He is doing very well. Sydney FC.
Sydney FC. He was at the Wanderers, and then he did the switch with Jan Jedovic, didn't he?
Yeah, one of the best changes he's ever made. He went from the bottom of the table to winning a medal all in one move.
And the improvement from him as well.
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding.
There's the nod down from Swan to his brother.
And these are the situations on the counter when the game's broken.
Swan has slid it through for Alex Reid. John Griffiths got enough of a touch back to his goalkeeper. And Paul Bitts just kicks it clear. He was being told to pick it up.
Luke Virgili not that happy that he didn't pick the ball up. Hopefully the speakers didn't pick up Luke's instructions.
Well, it was loud and clear.
Important touch from John Griffiths there. He got himself in a bit of a mix-up. His positioning wasn't super. Alex Reid got him behind him. Could have been very, very dangerous.
Matt Thompson across to Thornton. Ryan Clark has been kept under the caution this first half.
Good example of Broadmeadow at the moment, how under pressure they are. You can see James Virgili is playing almost doubling up as a right back with Matthew Hoole. Absolutely no chance of going forward. And Cale Bradbury the same as he's about to make a tackle right down in the bottom corner. Broadmeadow pinned in.
And Shane Paul seems to have recovered somewhat from that injury suffered earlier on. He just does that, doesn't he, Shane Paul?
He feels no pain, Shane Paul. He's an absolute freak. He'll be looking for a big game today. There is talk around town that he may not be going around again next year. He's had a little baby this year and he's enjoying his Father's Day out on the pitch, so he'll be wanting a big game today to make sure that he gets at least one more week next week.
Well, his father's involved with Bell Swans over at Jack McLaughlin Oval. Here's Virgili, burn away from Thornton. In the end, he couldn't find the final pass.
Very, very honest from James Virgili there, staying on his feet.
Just what we like to see, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Don't like to see any Neymars.
Absolutely. No, thank you. Not that part of his game anyway. I'll have the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. So Piddington. Gee, that bounced up almost over the top of Cale Bradbury. Did well to control it with his shoulder.
It's Luke Virgili and Ryan Clark having a lovely discussion in the middle of the park there. All smiles, but
maybe they're going to go out for dinner after the match.
Maybe.
Get some takeaway. Here's Virgili. Al Thornton putting his body on the line.
James Virgili, he's reacted. I heard a couple of minutes ago Ruben Zadkovic asking him he needs to find a way to get more involved in the game. He's been too quiet, and to his credit, the last couple of plays Broadmeadow's had, it's been James Virgili on the ball, which is really, really important for Broadmeadow. Mitch Oxborough making no rush to get over and take the corner.
And Michael Bulch actually just having a chat to Glenn Peterkin down there on the sideline, maybe just talking about that. They've been very slow to get across for the corners. Carl Thornton got a knee to that one. It was a little bit awkward, but did the job. The wind just picks up again. And again, Josh Piddington happy to get forward for the long throw. Swan. And now Alex Reid. Luke Virgili just only had one idea there, and that was just to hoof it down the ground. Ryan Clark has got red shirts swarming him. Liam Thornton, I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. Sprayed it into the midfield now with Majorowski.
Good job, Joel
Swan
Majorowski.
diving in on Majorowski. Gives away the foul.
He's done so well there, Majorowski. It was a difficult ball coming into him. He got it under control, and again, we've talked about it a number of times, just taking the pace out of the game. He's held it up long enough to bring other people into the game, but to draw that foul, and now Broadmeadow can just take their time, again, take a breather, go through the process, have a talk to each other, and control the tempo of the game.
So we tick towards half-time. Current score 3-2 on aggregate in favour of Broadmeadow Magic. But Maitland need 3 goals if they're to go through to the grand final for the first time since 1981 in the top grade.
Josh Piddington almost refusing to mark. He's called Matthew Hoole in from the right-hand side into centre back to pick up Alex Reid.
And he's actually
Which
just
is-
following Ryan Clark, isn't he?
Yeah.
Pennington. Here's Swan. Tried to just prod it over the top towards Sean Pratt. Now Alex Reid. Outside of the boot to Grant Brown. He hangs it up in the breeze. And now Matt Thompson. Here he is, the goal scorer. Charging between the lines. Bitts was unsure. He was in two
It's
minds.
an important touch from Luke Virgili there.
He was cool, calm and collected,
And that-
wasn't he, Luke Virgili? They were out of danger, but then Swan was fouled by Virgili.
And one brother has done so well, and James has let him down then. It was a poor decision. It was a poor touch. And to foul him is just put the cherry on the cake for Maitland. They'll like this opportunity.
They've got the height from the set piece. They just need the quality, don't they?
So Carl Thornton will be a target. Pennington picking him up. Liam Thornton as well, being closely marked by John Griffiths.
Thompson, it was low, and Zach Thomas got there first.
And it's a free header, just about penalty spot distance. Good opportunity, difficult chance, but Broadmeadow won't be happy with that marking. He's come from a deep run. I'm not sure who is picking him up, maybe Shane Paul. Lost his marker, and it was a good opportunity.
And that's all they can ask of Matt Thompson. He's put it right on a dime there. It's a decent delivery. Zach Thomas winning the ball in the air. Brown and now Pratt. If the score remains 1-0 to Maitland as they head for the sheds, Michael Bolch, I'm pretty sure, would be pleased with that. I'll need 2 goals, though, in the second half. And that's not out of the question. Especially with Broadmeadow, very out of sorts in the front third, aren't they, Hainsey? We've been speaking about that. They've been clunky.
They have. It just doesn't seem to be as much fluency in their play. Now, whether it's subconsciously they're first and foremost making sure they don't concede too many goals, but they're just not getting probably their most dangerous players in Hoole and Bradbury into the game at all. And when they are involved in the game, they're making tackles down near the penalty box.
Shane Paul with a throw. Majerowski, close control. Almost the opposite to what we saw from Magic last week in that first half. That goal from Cal Bradbury, the build-up, the combination in the front third was exquisite. Now Thompson, he was off balance. I was surprised he didn't play it into Alex Reid. Had him next to him, maybe didn't hear the call. There's Virgili.
Great touch, John Majerowski.
Could be an opportunity here for Broadmeadow. Numbers forward. So Virgili now just to loop it up and over Thornton, and then Swan. Gee, puts his body on the line, doesn't he, Andrew Swan? Well, both of them do. May have copped a knee in the head for his trouble.
Something I haven't enjoyed for a while, Broadmeadow, is controlled possession up in this area of the field. Be interesting to see what they make of this opportunity. So Hoole just kicks it into Swan again.
And that will do us for the opening 45 minutes here at Magic Park. It was Maitland who started the better of the two sides, and then they were awarded a penalty, and it was slotted away by Matt Thompson after Paul Bitts made the initial save. He followed up with the header and nodded it home. And at half-time, it's Broadmeadow Magic 0, Maitland FC 1. Maitland now needing 2 goals if they are to make it through to the grand final. They need to hope Magic don't score at all. If Magic score 1, Maitland grab a couple more. We're heading to extra time, but there's plenty more water to pass under the bridge, Hainsey. And there's hope for Maitland, isn't there?
Absolutely, there's hope. They've been by far and away the better side in this first half, and they'll be quite happy with 1-0 at half-time. Just looking at some of the faces of the Broadmeadow players as they come off the field, there's a fair bit of frustration. They're not happy with their performance, obviously. A couple of them having a word to referees, a couple of them having a word to each other and the coaching staff. They don't look themselves, but the reason they don't look themselves is because Maitland have been controlling the match.
Interesting there, Anthony Richards just walking in behind the referees, having a chat to them as they were heading towards the tunnel. So you can sense that frustration from Broadmeadow. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back in 10. It's Maitland leading Magic by a goal to 0 at the break. Welcome back to Magic Park this afternoon, the second semi-final, the second leg. We're just about to get underway in the second half on Bar TV. The final 45 minutes of this tie. That's provided, of course, we don't go into extra time with a 3-1 scoreline Maitland's way. That's the only way we will get an extra 30 minutes. And at the moment, it's the Magpies up by a goal to nil. And they're in their white kit, running towards the northern end of Magic Park with a huge southerly behind them, about 30 kilometres an hour. So just waiting for Shane Paul. He's going to take his position out there. We're a bit unsure whether he would be back for the second half. He was knocked around a bit in the first half, but he's good to go. And Alex Reid and Matt Thompson to get us back underway in the second half. Potentially 45 minutes away from knowing who will play Edgeworth in the grand final next Saturday night. Peter Haynes with me in commentary for this afternoon's clash. Haynesy, really cagey first half. Maitland pretty happy, as you said, with that.
Absolutely, Maitland would have been pretty happy with their first half performance. Obviously the goal at half time it's put him in a dangerous position, I would say. A very nervy first half from Broadmeadow. They did not look themselves at all. Really found it difficult to get any quality service and any maintained possession in their front third. Virgili, Bradbury and Majorowski doing bits and pieces, but nothing to their usual standard, and didn't have the influence that Broadmeadow would want them to have. And this half, you can see already the wind is roaring behind Maitland. It's going to make it even more difficult for Broadmeadow.
Now Tom Duggan, he's just come onto the park in the number 10 for Maitland. I'm just going to double check who has left the ground for them.
Is it Pratt? Is he?
Yeah, it is. It's Sean Pratt who's left the park.
I wonder if that's an injury, because I thought he was pretty handy in the first half, especially early on in the first half. I thought he made it a little bit difficult for Hoole.
Yeah, I'm suspecting it would have been an injury. Just having a look down at the Maitland bench. Can't see him down there, Sean Pratt, so I'm thinking he could be injured. Michael Bulch has been very impressed with Sean Pratt over the last few weeks. And Tom Duggan, former Magic man, he is very quick. Does he have the delivery though? Now here's Matt Thompson, he's been clipped. It's another penalty. Well, surely Lightning couldn't strike twice. Last season, as we said, Maitland were awarded 4 penalties against Magic in round 9. Matt Thompson slotted all of them. This afternoon, Maitland are now with their second opportunity from the spot. Just unbelievable how things pan out.
Well, if I wasn't sure about the first one in the first half, I am sure about the second one, and that was an absolute stonewall penalty. Great little touch. I think it was Matt Thompson who got him behind Broadley, and he just got his body in front and he's brought him down.
Yeah, clear as day. 4 penalties is slotted this year, and that one straight at Bitts, who makes the save. He saved the first one. Matt Thompson put it away. He couldn't put that one away because Bitts just clutched it into his chest.
And how big a save could that be from Paul Bitts for Broadmeadow's season? That is a massive save. We saw his save in the FFA Cup against...
It was against Canberra.
But that is a huge moment in this game, and probably he's going to give Broadmeadow a bit of a wake-up call here to get their minds back on the job.
Now Tom Duggan, who's had plenty of touches since he's come on. Alex Reid, he's onside. They might not be out of the woods. They are for the moment. Maitland have come out all guns blazing in this second half. But Paul Bitts, he is making a name for himself as a penalty stopper. A real quality goalkeeper from 10 yards.
Big moment again just for Alex Reid straight after. I think he'd like to have that one back. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say there was a little bobble. Would have liked to have got that on target and test Paul Bitts. And here Ruben Zadkovic wants to make the field much narrower than it is. wants to make sure that they're under much more pressure when they receive the ball, Maitland.
Well, it's as good as a goal that for Broadmeadow Magic, isn't it? Just the energy that they get from that, and the disappointment for Maitland. You know, you're thinking as a player down there, 2-0, aren't you? As soon as the penalty's awarded.
It's probably a strong tackle, John Griffiths.
A bit of push and shove.
And it probably goes a little bit both ways, you know, in that action. Do Maitland players start and think, is it meant to be? Is it going to happen again? And likewise, Broadmeadow maybe start to think, you know what, maybe the football gods are with us today. Fantastic save. He picked the right way. Not only did he save it, but he held the ball, something that he couldn't quite do in the first half. It rebounded back to Matt Thompson. The second time, Paul Bitts held onto it and got Broadmeadow out of danger.
Thompson just floating that one towards Carl Thornton at the back post. It's interesting because invariably Matt Thompson does go to that side of goal. That bottom right-hand corner with a lot of his penalties.
Absolutely. You know, you look at the Maitland side, there's goal scorers in there. Alex Reid, Ryan Clark, Carl Thornton, I've all seen them take penalties before, but if there's one person on that pitch you would want in a pressure situation, it is Matt Thompson. And unfortunately for the Maitland side, he couldn't quite find the back of the net.
Yeah, 5 goals this year, 4 of them from the penalty spot. And now Alex Reid, well, he got in front of John Griffiths. Peter Haynes, you are saying it's a send-off. He is so lucky, John Griffiths.
John
if he
Griffiths
isn't
is in
red-carded,
trouble.
he is off. Magic are down to 10 men. And what were you saying about the football gods, Hainesy?
And not only is that a massive decision for today, that is a huge, huge blow for Broadmeadow if they are to get through next week.
And it's a red card. It's a definite red card because he was the last man, wasn't he?
Well, there's they call it a dog-so rule. They've changed the rules, and if he is the last defender and he's brought him down in a goal-scoring situation, then the referee has no option but to show the red card. And John Griffiths is walking off the pitch, a very, very unhappy boy.
And not just for this week. If Magic get through, he will miss the grand final. And I would argue he is one of Magic's very best players, John Griffiths, at the back defensively. He is superb. He has been outstanding this year, and this is a sorry sight to see him walk down the tunnel.
It is a sad sight, and I'm a little bit biased. He's a good mate of mine, Johnny Griffiths. I pick him every year for the last few years to win Player of the Year for the comp. I think he is at that level. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves at Broadmeadow.
Well, this would rub salt into the wound. He can't do so, Matt Thompson. So here it is. I'm just going to get it back up for us, Hainesy, because we don't have the replay in front of us. So I thought immediately, as you did, I thought that's a red card.
Unfortunately for John Griffiths, I don't think Ryan Gallagher's got too many options here.
Yeah, it's a red card, isn't
Reid
it?
just got the wrong side, and unfortunately, John Griffiths, and you know what, I don't like to say this, but Matt Thompson's put the free kick over the bar, and it's probably not a bad foul for Broadmeadow to concede. Alex Reid one-on-one with the goalkeeper, more than likely will put that away and put Maitland up 2-0. They are a man down now, but it remains 1-0, and they're in the box seat to go through still.
So it could turn out to be a silver lining for Broadmeadow Magic. We'll wait and see. But it's going to have to be a change of tactics here from Broadmeadow, slightly, you sense. Now Shane Paul between the lines. It was Thompson diving in. And Zach Thomas and an air swing, and there's a bit of feeling. And there's a yellow card for Matt Thompson now.
Well, the game's come to life all of a sudden, and it's the Matt Thompson penalty has done that. It's increased the urgency from Maitland. They know they have to get something fairly soon. It's woken Broadmeadow up, and since we've had a send-off and another yellow card, the difficult thing now for Broadmeadow, again, not just this week, but also if they are to get through to the grand final, it is the one area of the park they don't have a lot of cover for.
Now Matt Jarowski. This would be the sucker punch if they could score Broadmeadow. Oxborough from distance. Keep it down. It was worth the try though.
Been scarce shots on goal today.
Well, he did well to get the power he did, especially into the breeze.
See, Matthew Trott can lump the ball. And that's gone every bit of 60 metres.
He's got some distance on that. Now Majorowski won the header, but didn't have
my
Carl
goodness.
Bradbury with him, and Zach Thomas has made a meal of that. Takes down Bradbury, who actually wasn't awarded the free kick until he picked up the ball.
Carl Bradbury has shown some experience there. He's made the referee make a decision by picking the ball up. Luckily for him, the decision's gone his way.
And you can see that sometimes go as a yellow card
Absolutely.
to the player in Bradbury's position.
Absolutely.
So this is big because it's Mitch Oxborough who's going to stand over it.
The yellow card shown there for Zach Thomas in the middle of that, was there as well?
There was Zach Thomas into the book. Obviously not on Oxborough's preferred side. So that's why Carl Bradbury standing there as well. You'd anticipate it would be Oxborough to take it though. And if he can score... Here he is, Oxborough straight into the wall. And to be honest, I don't know if it really affects Maitland that much if Magic do score the one, because they still have to score 2 more goals regardless.
It's a really, really good point, Benny. It's a simple job ahead of Maitland. They need to score 2, if not 3 goals to get them through. As you say, if Broadmeadow score, it doesn't change a lot. All it will do is make it difficult in terms of momentum. If Broadmeadow score, they will have a bit more belief. They'll be controlling a game a little bit more, and Maitland will have to start again. But in terms of the tie, it won't make a huge difference.
So Swan with a powerful header away. Now Justin Broadley, who was part of the Magpies side, who earned promotion back in 2014. A Magpies stalwart. Now he has the opportunity this afternoon to knock Maitland out of the competition. Duggan. Now Liam Thornton. The run of Matt Thompson, who's been mighty this afternoon, Matt Thompson. Matt Swan to Alex Reid. And Grant Brown, he has the time to just have a look and plays it straight to Paul Bitts. And we're disappointed with that ball, Grant Brown. Matt Trott just barking out orders to his troops, isn't he?
Looks like they have gone to 3 at the back here. Maitland, Carl Thornton central.
You're spot on.
Liam and Zach Thomas on the right-hand side.
As Grant Brown just pushed up into the midfield now.
I think what you'll find is that Andrew Swan, in this instance, will play a little bit deeper in midfield and try and screen that back 3. But I think you mentioned it before, Benny. I think Mick Bolch has made a decision that they need to just get a few more bodies forward and put a bit more pressure on Broadmeadow.
So 1-0 Maitland. We have had a frantic start to the second half. Matt Thompson's second penalty of the afternoon was saved by Paul Bitts. And then just minutes later, John Griffiths was sent off for a last man challenge on Alex Reid, who was in on goal. Liam Thornton got some of his head to it. And James DeGillian, his first match back from a hamstring injury. He was on the bench last week but didn't come on. He's been very quiet.
Might have spoken a bit too soon. Grant Brown taking his place back at right back. Might not have gone to a back 3, but maybe he's got a bit more licence to go forward when he sees an opportunity.
Just releasing the shackles a little bit, Michael Belch. One more goal for Maitland, and it makes things very interesting. That is a great ball towards Tom Duggan, who just lets himself down there with the first touch. So Hill with the throw.
Wouldn't be surprised, Benny, if we start and see the Broadmeadow bench warm up. Just Ruben Zadkovic just talking to a few players on the sideline there, and I think potential move for maybe Dino Fajovic to come on. I think a little bit more energy, pressing the back 2 a little bit more, just to make the decisions a little bit quicker for Maitland.
That's going to be difficult. You see there Zach Thomas playing that ball over the top. It's going to be very difficult now for Maitland with those balls up and over the top with the wind behind them.
It is, but one thing Ruben won't want is for those centre-backs, especially Carl Thornton, to have time to see those passes and to play them. He'll want people to put a bit more pressure onto those players. John Majorowski has been outstanding again today in a pretty difficult match, but he's not the kind of guy who's going to be pressing centre-backs for another 45 minutes, and I think Dino Fajovic might have an opportunity to come on and ask some questions of the back 3 or 4 for Maitland. Cody Carroll getting some instructions down on the in the warm-up area as well from Tom Russell, the team physio. Could be another option as well for Broadmeadow. Justin Broadley doesn't look 100%.
Grant Brown kept the one inside the line. Just going to scan across to Justin.
He's one of the fittest guys I've ever seen. He looks a little bit uncomfortable at the moment, so we'll just keep an eye on Justin and see what exactly is going on here.
He just runs all day, doesn't he, Justin Broadley?
He's an absolute machine. I know people talk about this league being semi-professional and amateur players, but Justin Broadley is as good a professional as you would see. Looks after his body fantastically well, eats well, does all the recovery, all the warm-ups, makes sure that the other boys are doing it as well. So if there is something wrong with him, it's a bit of a blow for Broadmeadow.
Yeah, 32 years old. Still going around.
Got the body of a 26-year-old.
Yep.
Similar to us, Benny.
I hope I don't have the body of a 26-year-old just yet.
I got the body of a 56-year-old, so we'll meet in the middle.
So just relieve the pressure on Magic for the moment. So we're inside the final 30 minutes now. Regulation time. Is there a Maitland miracle? Or will Magic make the grand final against Edgeworth? It'll be an Edgeworth Magic grand final for the second time in 3 seasons. We'll find out.
Oh, that is a tough decision.
I thought it was too, but it's probably evening itself out.
Yeah, Zach Thomas was a really strong header, and my thoughts were that he was just too strong. John Majorowski, it's not his go, winning big strong headers like that in the middle of the park. But he's won the free kick, and Broadmeadow have got a chance to send it into the box. Been good today, Zach Thomas.
He has, apart from that slight mishap probably about 10 minutes ago where he almost played it straight to Carl Bradbury. Apart from that, Michael Box has been very impressed with him, chatting to him in the lead up to this one.
It's a big lump of a lad.
You're tall, and he was formerly with Magic back in 2014. And Shane Paul, it's brought down by Grant Brown.
So there's a yellow card here for Grant Brown. He's gotten away with it.
He has. No yellow ticket for Brown. He's just on Zach Thomas, 2014 he was with Magic, and then Maitland in 2016, Western last year, and then back to Maitland. It's been toing and froing around the clubs.
And I guess it's part of the difficulty with success comes, as we see this one float in, and the man of the hour, Zach Thomas, with a good header. But with success comes that difficulty of balancing when you give those players a chance. We've seen so many of the Maitland team who've actually come from Broadmeadow because they haven't been able to crack that first team. Something Edgeworth have been fantastic at over the last couple of years is balancing that their young players and giving them first grade opportunities. Something that hasn't been as common at Broadmeadow. It's been a very stable squad. And if you're a young player wanting to play first grade, then there comes a time when you need to choose, and it's good to see those players playing first grade now. And a change.
And so John Majorowski, a like-for-like change, isn't it, Hainsey, with Dino Fajovic heading out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it does bring is energy. More so than anything else. We know the qualities that John Majorowski's had. He's an absolute out-and-out match winner. Not something that Broadmeadow necessarily need at the moment, with all due respects to John. Obviously they want to win the game, but I think Dino will bring them lots and lots of energy. He won't die wondering, Dino. He'll chase everything down and put as much pressure as he can on the Maitland fullbacks.
Well, speaking of Magic's golden generation, if you could call it that, they've had a wonderful period of time. Hainsey, you were definitely part of that. But there's 4 men out there that were part of their last grand final success. Josh Piddington, Luke Vigili, Matt Houle, and John Griffiths. Just the 4, but that's a large core of the squad, especially considering it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's surprising how long ago that is. It doesn't seem long ago. We're playing Edgeworth here and getting beat. But it's a long time, especially for a club who's has been used to winning trophies. It has hurt the club. So if they can manage to get through this game, it'll be a huge opportunity.
Oh, Thornton. And it's against an Edgeworth side that might not have the star names of the last couple of seasons, but they are the best team that Edgeworth has produced over the last 4 years, I would argue, as Vigili gets cut to ground.
And no yellow card? Absolutely. I mean, it's, we talk about, A-League players coming back. We've seen Matt Thompson, Mitch Oxborough, James Vigili, and yes, they do have Josh Rose in the squad, but it doesn't seem to matter for Broadmeadow. For Edgeworth. No Daniel McBreen in the semi-finals. There was a bit of talk around can they do it without Macca and his experience and his goal-scoring qualities, but absolutely they could do it.
Well, here we go. This is a bit of back chat, and it's Luke Vigili. Does have a bit to say on the pitch, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It's something he's well known for. He likes a bit of an argument. He likes to have his say. Not a necessary yellow card for Broadmeadow there.
Swan attempting to flick it on. Justin Broadley. And now Oxborough. We said Luke Vigili likes to chat a bit. He actually told Northern New South Wales' Quentin Connors earlier in the season that you were his favourite player to take the pitch with. As Oxborough gets totally cleaned up by Tom Duggan.
It's starting to heat up here, Benny.
It is simmering away. So decent chance here for the free kick.
A couple of cheap little tackles either way. You say Luke Vigili said that?
Luke Vigili said that. He said you're an inspiration to him.
Well, there you go. He's a good mate, Luke Vigili. He's a cracking player. He's a great competitor. It's a quick free kick.
So James Vigili, Zadkovic urging him to be positive, and he does just that. And Piddington rises and puts it over the bar. Well, Josh Piddington goals are as rare as hen's teeth, and what a goal that would have been.
And that's what you get from Josh Piddington. He's an absolute competitor. It is strange for me, though, that he is finding himself so high up the park today at this point in the match.
Why? Why is he up there? I know he's almost scored, but it is strange, isn't it?
I'm not sure whether it's an instruction or whether Josh is...
There's a flick on for James Vigili, and the crowd all of a sudden coming to life. They've been deathly silent. It's been like a graveyard.
It has been. I'm not just getting back to Josh. I'm not sure whether he's just trying to inspire some of the other boys, but I do find it a little bit odd. I'd prefer him to make sure that he's managing his area of the pitch and he's concentrating on that clean sheet and leave the goal scoring to the goal scorers.
So Houle goes short with the throw. Fajkovic trying to reel that one in. Hasn't scored in the NPL in more than a year, Dino Fajkovic, but a couple of goals in the FFA Cup. He knows when to score them. Duggan. Now Matt Swan. It's tracking away from him with the breeze, and he's got the speed demon Carl Bradbury coming after him. Grant Brown into Thompson. Good turn away from Vigili. And now Swan. Brown. To the back of Justin Broadley, who is able to get Magic out of trouble momentarily.
And that's well done by Maitland.
They really need to create something, don't they, Hainsey? They haven't for a while now, Maitland.
They do. You can see time ticking away now, and every minute is vital. We've seen last night's example. Doesn't take too long to score a couple of goals. Maitland have definitely got it in them, but time is ticking. Matt Trott not too happy with Mick Bolch, he thought he could have done a better job as a ball boy.
Well, I haven't seen anything like that before.
Michael Bolch was just walking around on the sideline with his head up in the air. He wasn't really looking around. And Matt Trott was screaming at him to get the ball, because the ball boy was taking his time. Which I'm not surprised about. He's a magic ball boy. Vigili. Surveying the options, James Vigili. Trying to beat them. Couldn't quite get away from Matt Swan, but he's back on the ball. And they're not on the same page as Mitch Oxborough, who had a little chuckle. I think he said, I'm not going to be able to get to that.
Did really well until that little moment then, James Vigili, just to keep the ball, not to rush something and just whip something into the box. Tried to keep the ball, but just not on the same wavelength with Mitch Oxborough.
Shane Paul, just look at this run forward, almost found Dino Fajkovic. Tom Duggan, great turn away from Matt Hoole, and he gives away the foul, Matt Hoole.
Tom Duggan, superb work there under immense pressure from Matt Hoole. Just wriggled away, got his body in front and drew the foul.
And Justin McAuliffe is about to head out onto the pitch, and it's Liam Thornton who is going to be replaced, is he? No. He's just
Ryan Clark coming to the sideline.
Well, this is a shock. If Ryan Clark's coming off.
He doesn't look healthy either. A bit of a limp.
He's disappointed, Ryan Clark. He's only been back for 3 matches from injury.
Yeah, interesting change there. He's a match winner, even if he's not at peak health. I think Ryan Clark is one that you look to in the dying minutes if you need a goal. Mick Bolch knows his players. Justin McAuliffe, another Broadmeadow, ex-Broadmeadow player.
And he was very impressive from more reports last week up at Cook Square Park. Damien Smith and Chris Turner are very impressed with him. Said he was lively. So they've got live wires on each side.
He
McAuliffe
is
and Duggan.
express pace. Express pace.
Quicker than Ryan Clark.
Oh, that is. I'm not usually. I can't keep up to see who wins those races, so I don't know. But I know he's very, very quick. Probably quicker than an injured Shane Paul. Put it that way.
Yes, and that is the man that's going to be keeping an eye on him. You sense he might only be keeping an eye on him if he's racing down the field. Here's the foot race. But Shane Paul has that he has that really low centre of gravity and great strength, doesn't he? That's where I'd say he has the advantage over McAuliffe.
And experience.
And experience as well. There's another one.
That's what you say about old players, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? Thornton. Ainsley, there's 2 ways of putting it. If they do well, they're experienced. If they don't do well, they're old. That's how the media works.
Absolutely. And the game's starting to open up now. Luke Vigili.
Well, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was James Vigili the way he was charging down the field. Zach Thomas just put it right on a platter for Alex
Look at the
Reid.
spaces in midfield now.
There's James Vigili. Fajkovic.
Good job, Dino Fajkovic.
Cale Bradbury just taking his time.
Magnificent effort there from Matt Swan that time, and that is exactly what you get from the Swan brothers. It's energy, it's fitness. He's drawn a foul there. They do not stop running all day. Fantastic effort.
They just need a goal to give themselves a little bit more hope. They need 2 goals to make it through to the grand final, Maitland. It's 3-1 on aggregate. 3-2 on aggregate at the moment in favour of Magic, but Magic have got more away goals, even if Maitland score another one as Broadley is cut down. He literally was cut to ground. Into the book goes Andrew Swan. So the card's mounting now for Maitland.
Fell awkwardly, Justin Broadley. He's clutching his knee. And for him to stay down, there must be a little bit of a problem. He's back to his knees. Tom Russell ready to stride onto the field as the team physio. And thankfully for Broadmeadow, Justin Broadley back onto his feet. He's not 100%. He's got a bit of a limp. The right knee looks to be in a little bit of a worse for wear. He's a tough man to keep down.
So Mitch Oxborough just got a touch. Fajkovic. This could be the moment for Cale Bradbury. Can he get it under his control? He can. Takes it away from Grant Brown. They've had limited chances this afternoon, Broadmeadow Magic. That was a decent one. And now Oxborough came off Thornton. There's Piddington getting forward again. So he's been given a licence, Josh Piddington, to get forward and cause Maitland some problems in the front third. Duggan. No foul. Going to Gallagher. And now a lovely ball from Piddington to Fajkovic. He has got Piddington with no one on him at the top of the box. He chooses Bradbury in the back of Thornton. And now Vigili deflection. And now Josh Piddington.
Well.
He's had two golden chances, Piddington. He's in trouble here.
He doesn't look good.
Is it a collarbone? Now, or is it his throat? Now, this is the injury he received in the first half, Josh Piddington.
Could be a bit of game management here, I think, from Piddington.
No, he's fine.
Well, I thought the deflection from James Vigili was dipping over the head of Matt Trott and into the far post.
So did I.
Hit the crossbar, and Josh Piddington, who I've had a bit of a crack at about being so high up the pitch, was Johnny on the spot. He just couldn't divert the ball in. And it's gone to the side and hit the side netting.
His last goal, Piddington, came in round 18 this year against Valentine in a big win. It was 5-0 that afternoon for Broadmeadow.
Talk about swings and roundabouts. This game is back and forth.
Now McAuliffe to Oxborough. They basically haven't had a chance since Alex Reid was brought to ground and John Griffiths was sent off. Hainsey, I'm going to ask you this question. I know a lot of water has passed under the bridge. We might just see if Maitland can make any of this, because there's been some different paths which could have been taken this afternoon. And now Swan, Alex Reid and Paul Bitts.
It's a good save, Paul Bitts. Not the most difficult save he's had all day.
He was offside. But it's still a brilliant save, isn't it?
It's a really good save. It was straight at him. He had to react really quickly, and he did so. He got a little bit lucky that it was straight at him, but good reactions.
So here's the option. So, of course, Magic have been down to 10 men.
Cody Carroll.
And it is Cody Carroll coming onto the park. Who will it be?
It's Mitch Oxborough.
Of course, here's his first match back from that 5-game suspension, so maybe lacking in a bit of fitness. Is that the...
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, it's like for like again. You're very similar players. Mitch Oxborough, we all know the history he's had in the game and the quality that he has. But Cody Carroll, ex-Newcastle Jets player, is a very similar player and of a very, very high quality as well. Ruben will be looking to him to get on the ball as much as possible, control this game, and again to manage the rest of the time and see the game out.
And Cody Carroll, he's had his own injury issues over the back end of the season. He's got that left knee heavily strapped.
Good effort, Dino Fajkovic there.
James Vigili chiming in down the right. Cale Bradbury, strong challenge from Grant Brown. Now McAuliffe, that was a lovely touch on to Grant Brown. Slide of foot. And Luke Vigili cleaning up at the back for Broadmeadow Magic. McAuliffe away from Brown. So here's the question, Hainsey. Would have you preferred to be playing against 11 if you're Maitland and be up 2-0 at the moment? Or would you prefer to be up 1-0 and be playing against 10 men?
Goals in the bank, Benny.
Yep.
Goals in the bank. The funny thing is, it doesn't change a whole lot. 10 men for Broadmeadow, yes, they need to cover more area, but in terms of their structure, it doesn't change what Maitland need to play against. They'll probably sacrifice one more going forward, but it's not something Broadmeadow need in terms of more goals. So in that sense, Maitland's challenge remains largely the same. And if you're asking me, I'd always take more goals. They're hard to get as it is, let alone in a semi-final with time ticking away.
And it could have been the reality for Maitland, because Matt Thompson's penalty, I should say, was saved by Paul Bitts, and they could have been up by 2-0 right at the start of this second half. Instead, it's still 1-0. Grant Brown, Liam Thornton was there, as was Reid. It fell back for Tom Duggan, who takes on the strike, and it took a heavy deflection off Luke Vigili. How much did you know about that?
That could have gone anywhere. Luke Vigili, it was a good header at the end. It was a curling shot from Duggan, and a good deflection from Luke Vigili. Skimmed off that melon of his. Not a whole lot of hair on it, so it did come off at pace, just to the outside of the post.
Well, are we in for some more late drama? Thompson's corner, not his best. And you can see he is struggling, Matt Thompson. Here's Brown. First time ball in from Thompson towards Thornton.
We're pushing the back from Shane Paul. Got away with it in that case.
Cody Carroll gave it away. Swan now back to Thornton, and Fadcevic was just there. Thomas now. Pilots it to Tom Duggan. It was too difficult to control for him. James Vigili weaving up the ground. And now Matt Houle.
It's not a bad result from Matt Houle. Just puts Maitland back on the back foot again. They'll make their way with the ball from the depth of the penalty area, as Grant Brown sends it forward once again. So we see another change, and it's Grant Brown. It's been quite good today, Ben.
He has, Grant Brown. And Louis Townsend is going to come on for Maitland. Played in his first finals match last weekend against Broadmeadow off the bench. Magic, the best side in the final 15 minutes this year of all in the competition, scoring 10 goals. Maitland scored 9 during the regular season. Tom Duggan just picked the pocket of Piddington, who returned. Vigili. Well, 2 years ago it was Cale Bradbury and James Vigili who broke the hearts of Michael Balch's Hamilton Olympic. Could they do the same thing here today? Here he is, Vigili! Almost on cue.
Good strike, Vigili. Just couldn't get his head over the ball to keep it down. Good work from Dino Fadcevic there as well, and Cale Bradbury. Good combination play in the front third there. Haven't seen a whole lot of it today.
Yeah, that was probably one of their better moments of the match, Broadmeadow. They'll want to improve for next weekend's grand final. I'm sure they will if they make it through, Broadmeadow.
Well, we say they haven't been themselves today. I think a lot of that comes down to what Maitland have actually let them do today. Maitland they've been quite good.
Does it come down to mindset as well?
I think so. I mean, it's you talk about it just being another game, and they just need to get a result. But at the end of the day, Broadmeadow know that they're very, very close to making a grand final before the game even starts. And to manage the emotions again, I've said a couple of times today, and it's a good tackle from Liam Thornton.
Very good tackle. McAuliffe! Oh, gee whiz, just over the bar. And Paul Bitts was happy to watch it fizz over the crossbar. It wasn't far away. Less than 10 minutes to travel now. Still the requirement for Maitland. Another 2 goals. 3-2 Magic lead on aggregate. But they have 3 away goals in the bank. Maitland only have the 1, and they'll only have 2 if they score another. So Louis Townsend, former Hamilton Olympic midfielder. Now with Michael Balch and Maitland. McAuliffe gives it away to Shane Paul. He's trying to win it back off his opposite number, Cale Bradbury. Paul.
Vigili
couldn't quite bring it under his control, and Matt Trott just lumps it up towards Alex Reid.
We talk about Cale Bradbury, how dangerous he is, the amount of goals that he scores, and about him going forward. But today he's done a stack of work without the ball. He's tracked back a number of times. He's made a number of important tackles back in their final third. It's been a really dedicated effort from Cale Bradbury. It's a strong tackle from Matt Hoole.
So Fadjovic with a foul on Carl Thornton, just a little elbow, and he kicked the ball away. Yep.
He's had his elbow up on the challenge against Carl Thornton there. Not a lot of malice in it, but you just can't get your elbows up that high. And then kicking the ball away was the icing on the cake. Ryan Gallagher no choice but to show him the yellow card. There's a few boys out there just need to be a little bit careful with the tackles flying in and around at the moment. A few boys on yellow cards.
Carl Thornton with the flick on. And they were charging through on Paul Bitts, weren't they?
One Broadmeadow player who hasn't shown any nerves today is Paul Bitts. He has looked absolutely rock solid.
I'd
confident,
say he's been
calm.
their best.
I would agree. He's looked very calm. A little bit of frustration starting to creep through on a couple of the Maitland players now as they start and sense things getting a little bit more urgent. You can hear Matt Trott at the back screaming instructions.
Patrick got his boot through it, and no advantage according to Gallagher.
There won't be in any rush to bring this ball back for the free kick.
So if Maitland get the result this afternoon and get the win in this second leg, it'll mean they've beaten Magic twice this year in 4 matches, which is not a bad record. But all that matters is who's going through to the grand final. And that'll be Broadmeadow if it remains the same. Cody Carroll. Now Matt Trott with the juggle.
Offside.
Matt Trott a little frustrated why there was no advantage, but there was little advantage.
See Davey Ifield warming up for Broadmeadow at the end, maybe looking at a little bit of defensive reinforcement to get them through the last 10 minutes or so.
Thornton now.
Remaining patient, Maitland.
Thomas on to Townsend. And what a moment that was in the game, just after half-time when Matt Thompson had his penalty saved by Paul Bitts. Cale Bradbury collected with the high boot of Carl Thornton.
So Matt Swan and Matt Trott having, let's call it a discussion in the middle of the park. Not happy with each other. Luke Virgili just happy to pump something down in the corner and then scream out to his teammates to lock Maitland in the corner, as they do.
Well, they're so close now, Broadmeadow, to a grand final. It would be Ruben Zadkovic's first as coach at Broadmeadow. Shane Pauley takes on Zach Thomas. He unleashed.
Fantastic engines, Shane Paul. I called him out early in the first half being injured, not sure whether he could continue. And here he is, bombing on from left back towards the end of the game.
Carl Thornton sending Andrew Swan on his way, and Broadley got enough of a shoulder. You've got to be careful, don't you? Because we saw a penalty awarded in the first half for shoulder-to-shoulder contact. Magic will get out of their own defensive area, I should say.
And they'll like this, Broadmeadow. Just these little niggly free kicks, just allowing them to slow the play down, break up the momentum, frustrate Maitland even more, and they'll just take their time each time to restart play and just go through their process of managing this game out. But Maitland aren't finished here. They're still going to try and have a bit of a say in this match. It's a bit of a scuffle off the ball between Fadjovic Can't
Louis
see who that
Townsend
was,
and
Louis
Zach
Townsend.
Thomas as well getting in there. So James Virgili. That's the option for Magic at the moment. Inside the final seconds of regulation time in this second leg. The second semi-final. The first leg it was Magic who won 3-1. Maitland 1-0 up here, but needing a couple of goals.
It's well played, Shane Paul.
And he went down very easily to Justin McAuliffe and Carl Bradbury. Cross towards James Virgili. It was cut out by Thornton. Cody Carroll. Alex Reid, he's worked hard in the front third. He was brought down by John Griffiths, which ended up being a red card for the Magic defender. But he couldn't quite find the back of the net so far this afternoon. Which is what he would have loved to do. Zach Thomas now. Here he is, Thomas. Just got there, Josh Piddington.
Good header, Piddington. As they look to go a little bit longer now, Maitland. And Cody Carroll's miscued that, and it's ended up a good pass out to Carl Bradbury on the left-hand side.
And James Virgili is just cramped up back on halfway. So Carl Bradbury, can they seal their spot in the grand final? Here it is, Bradbury! Just hasn't got his scoring boots on this afternoon. Scored 2 last week, and one of those an absolute bomb. And from close range, he just skews it over the bar.
And if you're a betting man, you would have backed Carl Bradbury to send that one home for sure. Broadmeadow players down on the pitch everywhere at the moment. You've got James Virgili's down, Shane Paul's down, Luke Virgili's getting a drink, Matt Hoole's getting a bit of hydration on the sideline. Tom Russell, the physio, has got his work cut out at the minute.
He needs to... He needs a couple of him out there. Tom Russell at the moment.
And he doesn't know where to go. He's just wandering. It's like Saving Private Ryan.
So James Virgili, that's the word I was trying to find. He needs to clone himself. Took me a while.
Trust me, but you don't want clones of Tom Russell floating around this earth, let me tell you.
So David Ifield now out there, the youngster. Actually turns 20 on Friday. So I hope he doesn't have too much alcohol to celebrate his 20th. Because he'll need to have his wits about him on Saturday night.
Well, especially now with John Griffiths not able to make an appearance. It could be a big birthday celebration in another way.
Yeah, it could. Be interesting to see how they structure Broadmeadow. But maybe is there a last chance here for Maitland? Alex Reid! It falls back for Matt Thompson. There's no one in goal. And it's just not been Maitland's afternoon. It's been that kind of day for them.
It sums it up, doesn't it? There was a fantastic opportunity that arose there for Alex Reid. Fell back to Matt Thompson again, who unselfishly tried to play in another Maitland player on the right-hand side and got cut out.
It's a great ball from Cody Carroll. Great vision. And Justin Broadley was making the run down the centre. He just played it too close to Matt Trott. He's like the Energizer Bunny. Justin Broadley just goes and goes. Alex Reid angles that pass. Not long now for Broadmeadow.
Luke Virgili marshalling the troops now. Very, very vocal Piddington and Virgili, making sure they compress that space. Don't give any room for Maitland to play in behind. Trott goes wide to Thompson, who is looking to struggle a bit on that knee now. He's been massive today for Maitland, Matt Thompson. He has missed a penalty, I know, but a huge performance.
And he will enjoy the break, I'm sure, on that knee. He'll finally get a rest. So Ryan Gallagher has a little look at the watch. Orbitz is going to take his time in stoppage time in this semi-final. Broadmeadow will go through, even though Maitland ahead at the moment.
Wonder what the feeling is in the Zane household. No doubt he'll be watching the match.
And Broadmeadow will get a shot at the title. And they reach their second grand final in the last 3 years. And they'll be targeting a first championship next Saturday night in 5 years. Not since 2013 have Broadmeadow won the grand final in northern New South Wales. They will play Edgeworth to win that title next Saturday evening. And for Maitland, semi-final heartbreak for them for the second time in the NPL era. And their 37-year wait for a grand final in the top grade will go on for another year. Maitland, they were valiant this afternoon, but just not quite good enough over the two legs to go in ahead of Broadmeadow to the grand final. Full time this afternoon, it finished Broadmeadow Magic 0, Maitland FC 1. But on aggregate, it was Broadmeadow 3, Maitland 2. Peter Haynes, and over the two legs, you have to say, Maitland just not clinical enough in the front third.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think the frustration for Maitland will be the fact that it was really the first half of leg one that the season not going through to a grand final. I thought they were fantastic today. I thought they did as much as they could do. Yes, they could have had a couple of goals. Alex Reid had some good chances. Matt Thompson with the penalty and another couple of chances. But it wasn't today where they lost this tie. It was the first half of leg one, and they'll rue that defensive performance. But they should hold their heads up high. I thought they were very good, and Broadmeadow just did enough to get through in the end.
The first 45 minutes last Sunday, I should say, was that the difference in the end?
Absolutely. I think if you take 3 goals away from Broadmeadow from that first half, and it's a very, very different story. It's a different mindset they come into this game with. And in the end, I think it was just a bridge too far for Maitland to bridge the gap.
Well, Hainsey, that'll wrap it up from Magic Park this afternoon. Next Saturday we'll be at McDonald Jones Stadium for the big grand final. Looking forward to that one. You'll be with us throughout the day on the coverage. Looking forward to that. We've got a few grand finals. I'm just trying to remember the under-18s. It is the Jets taking on Lake Macquarie, and in the under-20s it is Maitland up against Hamilton Olympic. The rematch after last year. Maitland won 1-0 against the odds. This year it'll be Maitland going in as favourites, so see what happens.
It's funny what a difference 12 months make.
It's just incredible that rivalry between Maitland and Hamilton in the under-20. So plenty to look forward to next Saturday. So can't wait. But remember the NPL show this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. on the NPL Facebook page. We'll be there. Player of the year, team of the year, it'll all be announced. Look forward to your company then. But for the moment, it's the grand final. It's been sealed. It'll be Broadmeadow Magic doing battle against Edgeworth Eagles for the second time in 3 years. We'll catch you later.